Last December, we checked a big thing off our bucket list and took a Christmas market river cruise. And this is the good, bad, and ugly of Christmas market river cruises. Hey everyone, what's up? This is Jordan.
And I'm Jared.
And this is JJ Cruise. Thank you so much for clicking into the video today. Well, last December, we did something so magical. We flew over to Europe for our very first Christmas market river cruise. And let me tell you, it was not only one of the best trips we've ever taken, but we came home with things that were essential to know if you are traveling on your first Christmas market river cruise.
So in this video today, we're going to talk about all the things we wish we knew prior to going on our first Christmas market river cruise. This is going to include everything from what you need to bring for packing, as well as what is the experience like on board these river cruise ships during the holiday season, as well as what do you need to be prepared for when going out into these beautiful Christmas markets.
Before we get into it, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers. If you like this video today, please hit that subscribe button. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. If you haven't seen our reviews before, we talk a little bit about everything. We talk about the good, the bad, and then we share what we thought was maybe the most ugly thing on our trip. We share our mistakes so you don't make the same mistakes when you go on your first Christmas market river cruise.
For this video specifically, we are focusing on the river cruise experience during Christmas market season. So this could apply to multiple different river cruise lines. This isn't just particular to our ship. That being said, we will talk later on in other videos about our experience on board our specific cruise line. So look into our channel if you're interested to see that.
For this cruise, we took a 7-night sailing with Emerald Waterways on board one of their river cruises on the Rhine. We stopped in a port every single day. We got to see multiple Christmas markets, and it was one of the best ways to get us into the holiday spirit.
For our trip, we went from Basel all the way to Amersterdam, and we stopped at multiple different places. Now, there are a lot of different itineraries that can still happen on the Rhine. We're going to focus on the general picture of what we found across the board when it came to the Christmas markets.
Let's start with the good. Upon stepping on board our river cruise, we truly did not know what to expect. One of the great surprises of getting on board this ship is that everyone was there for the same reasons: to get in the holiday spirit, see some incredible Christmas markets while sailing on this river cruise. We were actually pretty surprised at the demographics. The average age on board was probably mid-50s to mid-60s. You may know on other river cruises or other specific rivers that may skew a little bit older, but for Christmas markets, it does have a very average age for your cruiser going on board this cruise.
This was surprising to us because we really expected it to be a very older demographic on board, and not like that's a problem for us, but it was still surprising and shocking that the average age was a lot younger. Continuing with the onboard experience, we were so happy to see the onboard activities as well as the different nightlife options being very themed around the holidays. We had everything from jingle bells, if you will, being performed to singers that were singing more holiday classics. It was still local and it was local acts, but at the same time more themed around the holidays.
Our ship also got us in the spirit right away stepping on board, as the ship was beautifully decorated for the holiday season.
The next thing we loved was the excursion planning by the river cruise lines. They know when the Christmas markets are open, so they plan a majority of the excursions to be in the morning so that you can experience the Christmas markets later on in the day, whether it's in the afternoon or evening, to ensure that you're not missing out by choosing an excursion with them.
With Emerald Waterways, our excursions were all included in our cruise fare, which was a huge bonus and big value, because that meant before we ever even tackled the Christmas markets in the afternoon, we would get things included like historical walking tours, visits to museums, or beautiful canal boat rides once we got to Amsterdam. And while these excursions were an incredible value, the location and destinations that we went to were incredible.
When we first booked this river cruise, one of our main fears was that these destinations were just about the Christmas markets and didn't have much going on for them besides that alone. It's very different than an ocean cruise that goes to vibrant cities that everyone knows growing up. These are destinations that you may have never heard of or don't even know how to pronounce.
Our line of thinking here was completely wrong because all of these destinations were not only interesting, they were bustling with people, and we felt like we learned so much on the excursions. The tour guides did a phenomenal job. We learned things that we didn't even know we were missing in our life. And we loved the included excursions on our Christmas market cruise.
These were beautiful places with or without the Christmas markets. So we would even go back to these destinations without the Christmas markets being a part of it. But the Christmas markets are why we went, and we are so glad that we went for them.
Yes, the bread and butter of a Christmas market river cruise are the actual markets themselves. We hit up a market every single day of our 7-night cruise, and this was one of the most incredible things that we have ever done in our 100 cruises.
We cannot tell you how magical it is. It's something you have to experience for yourself. And having this not just be one stop, but every single destination being focused on places that are magical and full of holiday cheer is just something that you cannot replicate throughout the rest of the year.
When you arrive to each destination, there's typically a map of where you need to go to hit up the specific Christmas market that you're looking for. But what's so incredible is that at most of these stops, there's more than one Christmas market. So you might go spend an hour in one Christmas market and then walk 20 minutes to the next one and then hit up another one before getting back to the ship.
Along with this, many of them have different themes. So one might be an angel market where all of the things in the market are themed around angels. To another one might be about charities and giving goodwill and the fact that every purchase is going to a specific charity and you can see where your money is actually going. The different themes were vast, but in general, this just added a layer of holiday cheer because you could literally plan your visits to go to certain themes that may match the vibe you're looking for.
Let's talk about the food at these Christmas markets, because I know for some of you, that's a big reason that you might go. Well, the food did not disappoint. From hot sandwiches to German specialty foods to giant Bavarian pretzels, everywhere we went, the food was vast and readily available.
You can imagine these food stalls being like that of a festival in the United States. Maybe you're going to a food festival where it might be like Taste of Chicago, and you have these different stalls that have a select menu of things you can order, and each stall can really specialize on certain things, and you can tell which ones are the best because there are lines for these stalls because it's so good. You can smell from a mile away some of this food, and it makes your taste buds water with anticipation of what you're gonna eat next.
I speak for the majority of the world when I say the melted hot cheese is some of the best and delicious snack food I have had amongst all of the travels. So the food is going to be something you won't want to miss out on. It's okay to go to the Christmas market hungry because your belly will be filled.
After all that food, you're going to need something to drink, and there is more than ever anything to drink at these markets. If you're not familiar with Christmas markets, Gluhwein is what is popular there. It is everywhere, and with Gluhwein, you have 3 different options. You have the red, the white, and the rosé. Now, not every stall is going to have every single option, but what this is hot mulled wine. So if you think that you love a white wine, a little bit more sweet usually, versus a red that's a little more deep, or maybe you want a mix of both, all of them are available for purchase.
When you purchase your Gluhwein, you can walk around the market with your Gluhwein in your specific mug. And the mugs are another thing in and of themselves.
Y'all remember Pokemon cards or Beanie Babies? Well, Gluhwein mugs are just that big of a trend. These Gluhwein mugs are different every single market. Sometimes per stall, they have different mugs, but these mugs are adorable. They're unique. They're so special, and people want to collect them all. They want to trade them with others that may have missed one of them at a certain stall, and they are a hot commodity.
I'm not even embarrassed to say this, but we flew home with 22 Gluhwein mugs from our trip. Because you never know when you're going to get to go back to the Christmas markets, so you better collect them while you're there.
While at these markets, we were pleasantly surprised to see that even though we're in countries that don't traditionally speak English, most people spoke English as a second or third language. This made it very easy to go as Americans who, unfortunately, were never educated with a second or third language like most Europeans are. And so it was really easy to get around, and we were pleasantly surprised by this.
On top of that, the locals were extremely friendly.
Mhm.
People wanted you to come and visit their booths. People were so happy to see people from all around the world there in the Christmas markets. So we loved the fact that we felt welcomed and it was very easy to get around and maneuver from place to place.
After walking around a lot during the Christmas markets and having a full day at port, you may want to go grab lunch on board the ship, or maybe you want to go just rest your feet by the pool or a lounge on board. Well, that's what we loved about the river cruise. This is like your floating hotel, and the fact that you can actually go on and off the ship throughout the day whenever you like. Of course, you do need your card to get on board, but it was really easy to navigate the markets and take a break whenever we wanted to.
Another great thing is that there was not a lot of restrictions about what you could bring on board. You typically could bring any type of food or drink that you bought in the markets back onto the river cruise with you. That's very different from ocean cruising and something that we really enjoyed, being able to find a bottle of wine and bring that back onto the ship without having to check it and get it back the last day of the cruise.
We could go on and on about the good, but we really need to move on to the bad and then our ugly, which is something that you really need to know, or you will be shocked and not in a good way about your river cruise. The first is truly more of a need to know, or else it will be a bad on your cruise. A lot of stalls are cash only. Now, this isn't every stall, and of course, every single year, we believe more and more stalls get the ability to have card purchases. However, you may come up to a stall and find that perfect item that you want, and unfortunately not be able to purchase it because you don't have cash on hand. So we highly recommend getting some euros or getting some cash before you go to these Christmas markets so that you don't get bummed when you can't purchase that item that you've been waiting to buy.
If you're going to do moderate shopping, we would recommend bringing between 300 and 400 euros for a 7-night cruise. Something else that is a must know is that bathrooms are not always readily available depending on where you are. Yes, every Christmas market definitely had bathrooms, but some of them had extremely long lines or had a long walk to get to the other end of the market where the bathroom is. So when you see a place to go to the bathroom without a line, definitely use it because you don't know when you'll encounter the next bathroom while walking around the town.
Now, a lot of people may have not been to Europe and this might be their first trip. So it's also good to know that most bathrooms do require a small deposit of a small euro, maybe 50 cents, maybe a whole euro. So make sure you have some of those smaller coins or else you might not be able to use the restroom until you're back on board the ship.
Something else that we did not know or understand before we ever took a Christmas market cruise was how the Gluhwein worked and how you get these awesome mugs. You may pay 10 euros for your Gluhwein, and a lot of people don't realize that that actually includes the mug. If you would like to not keep the mug, you can return the mug after you're done drinking it and often get a deposit back. Sometimes this is 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 euro. So if you already have that particular mug in a market that you're visiting and you don't need to keep the mug, don't forget to take your mug back to the same stall that you bought that Gluhwein so you get a few coins back to save yourself a few extra bucks.
This next point can save you a ton of money on your upcoming river cruise, and there is a major cruise hack to make sure that you do it the right way. When it comes to merchandise, the merchandise at these Christmas markets are sometimes unique and stuff that you've never seen before. So you're going to want to spend money on this merchandise. But what you may not know on your first or second stop is that some of this merchandise is the exact same at every single Christmas market. Well, knowing this in advance is something that is key, and a lot of people don't know before going on the river cruise. Why is this important? Because the people on board, including your cruise director or other crew on board, have been to these Christmas markets many a time. And so asking your cruise director which markets may have the item you're looking for and which markets have it for the least amount of money is most important. We were shocked when we found the same Christmas pyramid that we bought at one of our first initial Christmas markets for cheaper 3 or 4 destinations later. So definitely don't make that mistake. The crew know which are the more affordable and best Christmas markets to buy at. And make sure you check those tags because they may not actually be locally made.
When you're walking around the Christmas markets and you're looking at pricing, something that you do want to know is pricing on food, specifically things like maybe candy or nuts, is often listed as price per pound, and that might not be clear on the sign. So if you see something that costs $2.99, it might be $2.99 per pound if it comes in bulk. Make sure you understand that and know that before you go to buy it, because we definitely made the mistake of buying a little bit more and spending more than we planned on when purchasing a few things in the Christmas markets.
And you probably won't see pounds. It's usually a different weight in Europe. Now, when you find that merchandise that you want, make sure you have room in your luggage to bring it home because most stalls do not offer shipping. Now, there may be some, especially for items that may be at a premium price, some of those really ornate Christmas pyramids, for example, but a lot of them actually do not ship. So make sure you have room in your luggage whenever planning to pack for your cruise.
We mentioned how a lot of people spoke English in the Christmas markets, and that made it really easy to get around. Well, a lot of the signage is not in English at specific stalls. This is very true for food. So you might go to certain stalls and the food items might be in German or French. So you're going to want to make sure you have a translator app on your phone. We are huge proponents of Google Translate. We do not go anywhere without it. So make sure you download Google Translate. And if you're going on the Rhine, I would recommend getting French and German downloaded on the Google Translate app so you will never have an issue understanding what food is what when purchasing them in the Christmas markets.
Of course, this can apply to any Christmas market river cruise, whether it's the Rhine or Danube. Look at all the countries you touch, including your embarkation ports and disembarkation ports, and download those languages spoke in all countries touched so you are well prepared when you're out without Wi-Fi at these markets.
One huge negative on our bad list is that ultimately there's just not enough time during the day to do every single thing at every single market. Jared and I hustled and we tried to get to as many markets as possible each day. But if you are someone that walks a little slower or just moves through the markets a little slower, you might feel like you just don't have enough time to see everything you want to see at every market during your cruise.
This is especially true when there are multiple Christmas markets at one village or city. We found this oftentimes that you had to really pick a perfect route. So talk to your cruise director or people on board before doing so, and they may tell you the best route to take to get most Christmas markets covered in the time that you have at port.
They also might tell you if there's a Christmas market that you should skip because it's just like another one or it's something that's just not worth your time. So definitely talk to people on board about how you should plan your day.
Many people don't know this next point, and it's important that you know it before ever booking a river cruise in general, especially the Christmas markets. Europe in itself is a hard place for ADA travel. But on top of this, taking a river cruise makes it even more difficult. Why, you may ask? Well, with river cruises, you actually dock side by side. So you may actually have docking that is attached to another ship or 3 ships before getting to port. Why is this a problem? Well, to get off onto shore, you have to take stairs. If you are someone that cannot do stairs, and there are multiple stairs to take, then please, please, please reconsider your trip. We would hate for anyone to join a river cruise for the Christmas markets and never be able to get off because they never were docked straight by land.
There are elevators on many river cruise ships, but the elevators do not go to the top deck. They can't go to the top deck because of the low levels that the ship has to be at to cross under bridges. This is why you have to take stairs to get all the way up and then walk across before going down onto land.
We hate this, but we have to be honest and upfront, and we want to protect you from losing money by booking this type of cruise when it's not right fit for you.
This next point kind of goes without saying, but if you are going on a Christmas market cruise in November or December, you are going to encounter colder weather. This, of course, is no one's favorite weather, but it is very magical if some snowflakes are falling down on you while you're in the Christmas markets. Just be prepared. We recommend having a really warm coat, very nice set of gloves, a nice scarf, and a nice hat. In addition, we also bought things like electronic hand warmers, water-resistant boots, ponchos because it might rain, and some very warm clothes like sweaters and pants.
Definitely think Alaska, but colder. Why do I say that? Because layers are important. You might have a day that starts off super wet, rainy, maybe even snow in the early morning, and then the sun comes out, and you kind of want to break off some layers because it's getting a little too warm. So definitely be prepared for all types of conditions, and know you may not have the perfect weather, but it still will be magical no matter what. We trudged through mud for one of the villages that was the most magical, and we are so glad we did because it was still absolutely wonderful and magical to go to that market. With the Christmas Market River Cruises, most of the time you are starting to sail away right as the sun is coming down or just right after. What does this mean? Well, there's not a lot of views while you're actually cruising. This may be different per itinerary, so you can always check the itinerary in advance, but it's something for you to know, because if you are booking a specific cabin type for the views, you may be sorely disappointed.
It's important to look for scenic cruising on your itinerary and to see how much of that there is. On ours, I think there was about 4 hours of scenic cruising. So having a balcony or a suite was not something we felt was necessary for us. We wanted to get off of the ship and into town to see the Christmas markets.
And that leads perfectly to our last bad or thing you need to know. You don't have a lot of time on board, so maybe don't book a cruise that's all about the amenities on board. Now, this is different per person. If you're somebody that does enjoy a lot of time on board, even when you're going out to a Christmas market, maybe you only go out a couple hours and come back, maybe different for you. But for a majority of people, we found that they spent so much more time off at port than they ever did on the ship. So maybe look at the essentials like best beds, best food on board, because that still can be important, but maybe not think about entertainment activities or those other amenities that are less needed for this itinerary.
Now it's time to talk about the ugly, and this particular ugly kind of ruined the magic for us of the Christmas market cruise.
Yeah, this next thing, the ugly, truly sucked, and that was the fact that a lot of our port times were not at night. There were not a lot of experiencing the Christmas or holiday magic at night, which you can imagine with lights aglow and holiday cheer with people off work and actually at the markets. Well, we didn't get to experience much of that at all. We found that this is actually very common for river cruises. This is not a rare thing, but when searching for your next itinerary, please look to see as much as possible if there are overnights or if there is time at night, because it can be really important to getting more magical cheer while you're out in Europe.
For our 7-night cruise, we only had 2 Christmas markets that we got to see at night, and we would have liked to see them all at night. So I definitely echo what Jared says. Look at those itineraries for late nights or overnights, because that will amplify the magic on your Christmas market river cruise.
That was our good, bad, and ugly, but overall, would we do a Christmas market river cruise again? I can't even say it with a straight face. It's a duh.
Yes.
We can't wait to go again.
We absolutely would. This was one of the best trips we have ever taken. If this trip is on your radar at all, just do it.
And to make sure you're not leaving anything off the table, why don't you book with us at jjcruise.com, fill out our booking form. It can be for a river cruise line that you've never done before. We're happy to help you understand what's best for you so you don't leave a single drop of Gluhwein left on that table.
Well, thank you so much for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Have you ever been on a Christmas market river cruise? If so, are there important tips that we missed? Are there things you agree with or disagree with? Please let us know in the comments below. Again, my name is Jordan.
And I'm Jared.
Until next time,
See ya.